Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. If you don't already have a copy of AnyRPG, you can pick one up from anyrpg.org/downloads in both Unity package and source code format. You can also find copies of the games that I'm working on at the same page. In this episode, we will be adding some voiceovers to the game. We've had some voiceovers donated to the project by this guy here, Hand Avatar, who has his own YouTube channel. And I've already downloaded them and added them into a folder and organized them inside of the Unity project. And in this episode, we'll just be extending the engine in order to allow these these voiceovers to play. So what we're going to do is basically extend our audio profiles class. So we have here an audio profile class, and to avoid making just this whole pile of extra audio profiles, which increases the game load time because these things are all part of the resources folder structure, what I'm going to do is extend the audio profile to support multiple audio clips, and then we can refer to this audio profile in the dialog. So what'll happen is in our dialog here, we can just add an audio profile to it, and then it will basically match up automatically and let's find a dialog with more nodes here. There we go. It'll match up automatically the dialog nodes with the audio clips in the audio profile just based on their orders, so we don't have to go in and manually add a reference to each of these things. So let's get started on that, and the first step basically is to add the extra clips to the audio profile. So I've got the audio profile open in Visual Studio here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this original clip in for now. We won't be referring to it, but I need to go through and copy these manually into the list later. So this new field will be a list of audio clips, which is called audio clips. And I'll just set that to a new list of audio clip by default. And then here for my audio clip, what we'll want to be doing basically is let's change the logic in here to basically check if there's an audio clip, great, use it. Otherwise, grab element 0 of the list. Otherwise, return null. And this will mean that this will remain sort of backwards compatible for now. So what we'll do here is just add some braces and put this inside of this block here and set this to return audio clip. And first we'll check if the audio clip does not equal null. Then we're just going to return the audio clip. At the very end of it, we're going to return null if we didn't make it there. If the audio clips dot count is greater than 0, then we will return audio clips element 0. And this means that anything that's just expecting a single audio clip can still grab it out of the first element of that list, and then return null is good. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually go in and fill in those audio profiles. So under the audio profile folder, I'm going to create a new folder just to keep this stuff organized, and I'm going to set it to voice. And then I've organized the audio profiles already. So basically we want History of Magic and History of Magic Caveman, Sunsworn History 1, Sunsworn History 2, and the Sun Dancers. So we'll make the first one History of Magic. So create a new AnyRPG audio profile, History of Magic. Set the resource name to History of Magic. And set the artist name to Hand Avatar. Then I'll duplicate this one. We want Sunsworn History 1. And Sunsworn History 2. And the Sun Dancers. And then let's see, so we have History of Magic, Sunsworn History 1 and 2, and the Sun Dancers. We also need History of Magic Caveman. And in this case, because these are all separate files, we'll have to make ones for each of them. So History of Caveman Magic Caveman 1, or sorry, I mean because the caveman has individual dialogues, they're not timed. So History of Magic Caveman 2 and History of Magic Caveman 3. Perfect. So then let's go ahead and fill out the audio clips. Oops, 4. So here we're looking for History of Magic 1_1 is the first one. History of Magic 1_2 is the second one. History of Magic 1_3 is the third one. And History of Magic 1_4 as the fourth one. Then for the caveman ones, we want History of Magic Caveman 1, and History of Magic Caveman 2, and History of Magic Caveman 3, and then for the Sunsworn History, there are, I believe, 4 audio clips there. So Sunsworn History 1:1, Sunsworn History 1:2, Sunsworn History 1:3, Sunsworn History 1:4, and then 4 audio clips for the Sunsworn History 2. So Sunsworn History 2:1, Sunsworn History 2:2, Sunsworn History 2:3, and Sunsworn History 2:4. And then the Sun Dancers, I can't remember if there was 4 or 3 for that. 3. So Sun Dancers 1, Sun Dancers 2, and Sundancers 3. Alright, so now that we have audio profiles for all of these voiceovers, we'll want to actually adjust the dialog class so that it has a reference to the audio profiles. So we'll open up the dialog class here, and at the very top we'll make a new serialized field, and this will be a private audio profile, audio profile. We'll save that, let Unity compile, and then we'll go in and add the audio profiles. So the dialogues are under, some of them here under cutscene. So, and actually in this case we shouldn't be linking directly to an audio profile. We should actually be instantiating that as an audio profile. So this is actually going to be named audio profile name, and it's going to be string dot empty, and then because it's a resource, we'll need to actually get a reference to it in our setup scriptable objects method here. So what we want to do is, if the audio profile name does not equal null, then we want to make a audio profile tmp audio profile equals system audio profile manager, and actually we want to make sure also that the audio profile name does not equal string.empty as well. So we'll grab the system audio profile manager.myInstance.get resource, and we'll be basing that on the audio profile name here. And then if the tmp audio profile does not equal null, then and we'll actually have to make a real audio profile here. So we just have a new private audio profile, audio profile. So we'll set the audio profile equals tmp audio profile. Now if we failed to get it, we want to warn the user that they spelled something wrong. So we'll do a debug.log error here, and we're just going to let them know that we could not find audio profile based on the audio profile name while initializing, and then whatever this resource's name is. And we're actually just going to let them know that this is a dialog.setup scriptable objects call that this happened in. Okay, that should work. So now we can get a reference to our audio profile based on what the name is here. So the audio profile name for History of Magic is just going to be History of Magic. And the audio profile name for the Sundancers is just going to be the Sundancers. For Sunsworn History 1, it was Sunsworn History 1. For Sunsworn History 2, it was Sunsworn History 2. And then we also have the caveman ones, and in this case, let's see what it was again. Magic Spawn was History of Magic Caveman 3, and Plant Corn was History of Magic Caveman 1, and Water Plants was History of Magic Caveman 2. Okay, that should do it, and now that we have all of the dialogues and the audio profiles hooked up, we just need to make a way to actually play those in the game. So we need to go into the code where each of these three types of dialogue are actually being used. So to do that, we'll go into our dialogue here, and we have a public property. Let's see if we can find a good public property. My dialogue nodes. Actually, my automatic. If we find all references to my automatic, we'll see where these dialogues are being used in the code. So this one is the dialogue interactable, which is going to be the one that's actually on the character. We've got play dialogue right there. So let's go to the definition of that. And right here is where we're actually looping through and setting the speech text. So basically at this point, when we set the speech bubble, we'll want to actually play the audio as well. So to do that, we'll need a reference to the audio output device. So let's just go take a look at that. Historian Flare unit. So on Apprentice Historian Flare unit, right here, he has an audio source. So what we want to do basically is get a reference to the audio source so that we can play his audio. So it basically is coming out of his body and following him around because he's got a 3D audio. So to do that, we'll get a reference to the audio source. We might as well get it in the interactable option, because who knows, maybe we'll want to use audio sources on different things here. So I'll just add a protected audio source here, and we'll just call it audio source. And then in our get component references here, we'll try to grab it. So audio source equals get component audio source. And now we can go back to the dialog interactable class here, and we should have a reference to it. So we'll go to our play dialog method, and then do a bunch of checks here basically. So first, if audio source does not equal null, and audio profile, let's just see here. We need the audio profile from the dialog. So basically, and dialog dot my, and I don't think I've exposed that yet. So what we'll want to do here is expose this. So quick actions and refactoring, encapsulate field, and set the name, my audio profile. So dialog.my audio profile does not equal null. And we have a dialog index right here. So we want to make sure that the dialog.myAudioProfile.my, and I actually want to expose the entire audio clips array. So we want to go into here, and we have this list of audio clips. So we want to do quick actions and refactoring and encapsulate it. And we don't need to set, this is just a get, and set the name on it. So basically .my audio clips does not equal null, and my audio clips dot count is greater than the dialog index. And if all that stuff is true, then what we can do is go to our audio source dot play one shot and tell it to play the dialog.myAudioProfile.myAudioClips to the current dialog index. So then this will basically match up, like the first dialog will match the first audio clip, etc. Second will match the second. Okay, so this is one way we can use the dialogues. This is in the dialog interactable, but there's two more places that we're using the dialogues, and that is in the cutscene and the actual dialogue on the quest here. So on the cutscene bar controller, we'll basically want to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy all this code here because it's going to be pretty much very similar. So we'll go over to the cutscene bar controller here. I guess what we want to do, process dialog node. Let's just go look at the play dialog here. And good, the process dialog node is the common one. Now, here, we might have to make a change. Let's see, we set the caption text. What we need to do is have a way to grab the sound from here. And the process dialog node, we're sending in a dialog node rather than a dialog index. Just looking at the way, let's see, that this is called, if we find all references to it, it's called from here, in which case we have a dialog index. It's called from there, in which case we have a dialog index. And yeah, okay. So what we'll be doing is sending in the dialog index instead. Yeah, okay. Definitely what we'll be doing. Okay, so what we want to do is with process dialog node, we are going to send in dialog index. We are going to be accepting a int dialog index. Here we'll be sending in, once again, the dialog index. And here we'll be sending in, once again, the dialog index. Okay, good. So now what we can do is in our process dialog node, the dialog node current dialog node equals current dialog dot my dialog nodes based on the dialog index. Okay, good. So that fixes up that, and now we've got a dialog index, so now we can also play the sound as well. This is on the cutscene bar controller, so we won't be playing it on the local audio source. And here we'll have current dialog as what we're referring to. Whoops. Copy that, paste it there, paste it there, and let's just make sure that the system no, I think I just called this audio manager. Yeah. Audio manager.myInstance does not equal null, then we're going to do audio manager.myInstance.play effect, and this will be the current dialog.myAudioProfile.myAudioClips based on the dialog index. Okay, great. So that will handle the situation where cutscenes need to play audio. And the final one we have is that actual dialog window. And I believe I'm looking for the dialog panel controller. And let's see, for here, I'm just thinking, I think what we'll do is we'll do the same thing with the cutscene bars. We'll have, for the dialog panel controller, we'll have it actually play through through the main speaker, not through the speaker of the thing that called this. So at some point here, we're going to have like a show dialog here. Display node text. Okay, good. So right here is where we check if the node text does not equal null. And then we set it to the current dialog index's description. Perfect. So basically, we're getting my dialog as the dialog that it's currently set to, basically. So if my dialog.myAudioProfile does not equal null, and my dialog.myAudioProfile.myAudioClips doesn't equal null, and my dialog.myprofile.myaudioclips.count is greater than dialog index, then go ahead and play the effect mydialog.myaudioprofile.myaudioclips based on dialog index. Okay, great. That's all three things that could potentially play a sound, because that's all three places that we actually access this dialog class. I think that means that we're actually ready to go and test this now. Okay, this is kind of an interesting one here. So basically, character unit is, I believe, an interactable option, which means that it no longer needs to get the audio source, because we just used to have that on character units before. So we can just basically delete that from there, because interactable options are now taking care of the audio sources. I also believe we don't need that property anymore, because we're already exposing that in interactable option. If we're not, I will right now. Yeah, okay, I need to do that. So quick actions and refactoring, encapsulate it, set it back to protected, and just expose that. And then there will probably be a place in here where we were trying to get a reference to it. Let's just Control F for audio source. There. So that's good. And that should work. Let's save that. And now that same field serialized multiple times error should hopefully disappear. And it says inaccessible due to its protection level, and that's because when you serialize a protected field, it goes ahead and makes it protected, so I just need to make that public. Save that. I think if we clear these, we're okay now. Alright, let's load up the game. I have a tester ready to start this quest. So let's go take a look and see if that's going to work now. Hey, cool. Hey, good timing, man. We're just about to actually test out all the voiceovers. Hopefully they work. Okay, so let's go talk to Flair.
In the beginning, there was no magic.
Okay, that's a little quiet. I'm just going to
not project his
turn
will
up the
outside his
effects.
body. In a time before history, people discovered that they could channel their will to control the environment around them. This channeling came to be known as magic. The users of magic were called magi.
Okay, I'm liking that. It's playing properly in the left speaker.
But there was a
right
side
one,
effect.
based on where I'm
You can read about
facing.
it in this book right here.
Man, this is so awesome. So awesome. Okay, very cool. So we're going to get the quest, we're going to accept it, and let's watch the cutscene now.
Man worked and toiled all day. Work, work, work.
Oh, this is so awesome.
Magic made life easier.
I love it.
But it also caused the life force of the caster to leak out into the environment. What's this? What is happening? Where it could grant sentience to anything it touched.
Okay, cool. Looking good so far. Now we should be able to go on to the next part and see if the actual dialogue part of it's working. Complete that quest. Continue.
Around the time that people discovered magic, there was a tribe of ancient sun worshippers called the Sun Dancers. Two twins, Jaden and Jaren Sundancer, discovered that their traditional dancers had the power to channel the sun.
I love how the 3D audio
Unlike
is working.
magic, which
You
leached
hear-
the life force of the user, the sun did not corrupt anything when channeled.
Which direction it's coming from.
The twins practiced their dancing until their ability to control the sun made them more powerful than even the strongest mages. Have you ever seen a sun dance?
Oh, this is perfect. It's working even for these pop-up dialogues. I love this.
Your timing could not be better. Instructor Foxy is out in the courtyard right now. Her students are about to begin practicing the dance. Yes, definitely. Come back to me once you have seen it.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. So basically, that's all the dialogues, and they're working perfectly. So now you have the ability with the AnyRPG Engine to have voiceovers for all your dialogues and your cutscenes, your pop-up dialogue windows, and your automatic dialogues. So I hope you enjoyed that. Once again, big thanks, Hand Avatar. Those voiceovers are awesome, and they're just going to make this game so much cooler. So thank you for that, and I'll be doing another episode shortly where we'll be continuing in our dungeon and making the interactive switches more like an actual puzzle dungeon connected to like cutscenes and stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.